What is treason? In the United States, it's the only crime specifically defined in the Constitution. Article 3, Section 3 lays it out clearly. Treason against the United States shall consist only in levying war against them, or in adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. This definition is incredibly narrow, and for a very good reason. The framers of the Constitution had just lived through a revolution where they were considered traitors by the British Crown. They understood how easily a charge of treason could be used to suppress political dissent and silence opposition. So, they set a high bar. It's not enough to just disagree with the government, or even to protest loudly. Treason requires concrete actions. First, levying war. This means actually taking up arms against the United States, not just talking about it. It's about assembling a force to violently overthrow the government or resist its laws. Second, adhering to their enemies, giving them aid and comfort. This part applies during a time of declared war. It involves actively helping a country that the United States is officially at war with. This could mean providing intelligence, supplies, or shelter to enemy forces. But there's another crucial layer of protection. A person cannot be convicted of treason unless there is testimony from two witnesses to the same overt act, or a confession in open court. This evidentiary standard is much higher than for most other crimes. Again, this was designed to prevent the government from easily convicting people based on flimsy evidence or political motivations. The overt act itself must be a clear, demonstrable action that shows an intent to betray the country. Simply having treasonous thoughts is not a crime. Throughout American history, actual prosecutions for treason have been extremely rare. One of the earliest and most famous cases involved Aaron Burr, the former vice president. In 1807, he was accused of trying to create his own independent empire in the American West. Despite the high-profile nature of the case, Burr was acquitted. Chief Justice John Marshall, who presided over the trial, interpreted the levying war clause very strictly, ruling that merely plotting a war wasn't enough. An actual armed force had to be assembled. Another notable period for treason charges was after the Civil War. Logically, you might think thousands of Confederates would be tried for treason for levying war against the United States. However, President Andrew Johnson issued a general amnesty and pardons to most former Confederates. The government's focus was on Reconstruction and national reconciliation, not on mass prosecutions that could have reignited the conflict. The legal and political complexities were enormous. In the 20th century, a few cases emerged during World War II. These typically involved American citizens who worked for the Axis powers, like Germany or Japan, often as propagandists. One well-known case was that of Iva Toguri d'Aquino, famously known as Tokyo Rose. She was an American citizen who broadcast propaganda for Japan during the war. After a lengthy trial, she was convicted on one count of treason for speaking on a broadcast about the loss of American ships. She served 6 years in prison before being pardoned by President Gerald Ford in 1977, after investigations revealed that witness testimony against her may have been false. Another case was that of Tomoya Kawakita, a dual U.S.-Japanese citizen who was in Japan when the war broke out. He worked as an interpreter in a prisoner of war camp and was accused of brutalizing American POWs. After the war, he returned to the U.S. and was recognized by a former prisoner. He was convicted of treason and sentenced to death, though his sentence was later commuted to life imprisonment by President Eisenhower. He was eventually released and deported to Japan. These cases highlight the aid and comfort to the enemy clause. The key element is that the United States must be officially at war with a declared enemy. This is why, for example, individuals who spied for the Soviet Union during the Cold War were typically charged with espionage, not treason. While the Cold War was a period of intense hostility, it was not a formally declared war. Espionage is a separate, serious crime, but it doesn't meet the specific constitutional definition of treason. The distinction between treason and other crimes like sedition, espionage, or insurrection is important. Sedition involves inciting rebellion or discontent against the government, often through speech or writing. Insurrection is the act of rising up against the government itself. Espionage is spying. While all are serious offenses against the state, only treason has that unique constitutional definition and its incredibly high standard of proof. So, why is the definition so strict and the prosecution so rare? It goes back to the core principles of American democracy. The framers wanted to protect freedom of speech, thought, and political opposition. They knew that a vague definition of treason could become a weapon for a tyrannical government to crush dissent. By defining it narrowly and requiring a high burden of proof, they created a powerful shield for individual liberty. They ensured that a person could only be convicted for the most extreme acts of betrayal, not for their beliefs or their words. In modern times, discussions about treason sometimes pop up in heated political debates, but actual legal charges remain virtually non-existent. The challenges of prosecuting treason in the 21st century are complex, especially with the nature of modern warfare and global terrorism. Who is the enemy? A non-state actor like a terrorist group doesn't fit the traditional model of a nation-state with whom Congress can declare war. This legal gray area is one reason why individuals who join or support foreign terrorist organizations are typically prosecuted under other statutes, like those providing material support to terrorism, rather than treason. The story of treason in the United States is really a story about the balance between national security and individual freedom. It reflects a deep-seated fear of government overreach. The high constitutional wall built around the crime of treason stands as a testament to the idea that in a free society, the government should not have the power to easily label its citizens as traitors. It's a powerful, rarely used law reserved for the ultimate act of betrayal against the nation, and its scarcity is a sign of a healthy, functioning democracy. Thanks for watching. If you found this exploration of American law interesting, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into history and civics. See you next time.